Ooh, I'm getting goosebumps. With pleasure. Damn. What a sick CG. So you're alive. Well, yeah. So that explosion was a deception after all. Kind of felt something was not right back then. Just as we thought. You're sharp. To tell you the truth, we were most afraid that you would see through our trick. Now then, I'll be joining you all up there. Just wait a little while longer. Dad, Mom, I see ya. I see ya. Were you reminiscing things, Huh? You could hear me? Well, I inserted my mini microphone into this robot so I could assess the situation. So, what if I was reminiscing things? Sorry to say this, but you should save that for later. We'll be exposed if we don't get out of here fast. After all, one of them has a keen sense of perception, right? Ah, you must mean Foxy, the prostitute from Chaos. She has the expertise to see through a deception. Let's settle this quickly. I will now press the button on this remote to free you. Alright. Ouch. This robot's arms apply too much pressure on me, Dad. Sorry for that. I was in a rush to create this robot, so I didn't have time to fine-tune it. That aside, we must make haste. I will now be entering the code on the remote to activate the robot's explosion. You go ahead first. Will we bump into them? We won't if we hurry. A laser currently blocks our way. Then what's our escape route? There's a ventilation duct just a little ahead. Crawl straight through it without turning. Alona is waiting for us on the other side. So Mom's here as well. Yes. It was not easy for her to take time out of her busy schedule, though. Now, go. Right. That's right. The trap back at the CMGC headquarters was just a deception set up by Dad and me. Although it was a little early, I figured it was a good chance to bring him back to our side. He would vanish from the front stage by pretending to die and reunite with us backstage. That aside, I was surprised how you managed to reveal our true selves, Lancer, Kleiman. Could that be because you and we are bound together by fate and are inseparable? How about enlightening us, the man who put an end to Isia's life? Foider was the key. Foider. It all began with a portrait of Kane back in our headquarters. Foider saw that portrait and remembered the photo that you showed to him. He thought Kane looked a lot like Hide's son, and so much so that he might just be her son. But I actually already had a hunch about it when I first met him at her headquarters. Not only did I sort of recognize him, but I also had a rather uneasy feeling about him. I thought, could he be the boy from 10 years ago? As a result, I suspected that Kane was Isia's brother. Then after I heard from Foider about Kane, I deducted that Hide was Isia's mother. Afterwards, I showed him the photo of Isia in the locket. That was where he said it. He commented on how Isia looked very much like Hide's daughter. I was convinced by then. Isia, Kane, Hide, and the father who I didn't know back then. These masterminds who brought about this entire chaos would turn out to be a case of so near and yet so far until now. They are the Disastia family. This is certainly unexpected. True enough, back when the celestial border disappeared, I was lost in thought as Juve's observation deck. I was viewing distant lands of Frezite, while holding a pendant showing a photo of my family, reminiscing the good old days. For some reason, it did not occur to me to hide the pendant from Foider, but to think that would actually become the first step to uncover our true identities. Even though I always have confidence in foreseeing things, this is entirely off my radar. It is not credible enough, though. The fact that we are the Disastia family may prove that we are out to end the world, but it does not prove why. Yes, in other words, that alone does not prove our motivation for scheming the whole chaos. Well, it would have been different had you at least have some proof of it, but you seem unshakenly convinced, without any evidence, that we are the masterminds. Why is that? Do you actually have any clue as to why we aim to end the world? Yeah, I have. I found your footprints. Our footprints? Don't you remember? I believe you left them in that place. A mansion on a small island in the lake near South Crimson Forest. You guys are the 6-year commemorator. Can you try to somehow recall that name? I am trying. I am trying very hard to recall, but I am really sorry. I am unable to be assistance to you on this. Say, yes? What is it? I doubt it's possible, but is that name Isia? That's it. That's the name I heard. I see. I completely forgot about the commemorator, honestly. It can't possibly be that you don't know about that, right? I won't deny that. There is no way I would forget about that place. As the one responsible for that man's murder, I initially vowed to kill him mercilessly, like every other target of ours, but he was far beyond my expectations. He was a down-to-earth person unlike any other. Yes, even the members of the DLG Law support group can't compare to him. Their way of encouragement was simply typical, futile, and cliché. They were fools playing the make-believe game of licking their wounds. That man, on the other hand, caught my attention completely. I then unwillingly became engaged in a conversation with him. In the process, I got a little too carried away. It's funny how I remember Chaos Salvation Association, but completely forgot about the 6-year commemorator. I'm surprised, to be honest. Who would have thought that you would keep this a secret from the government? What is your intention, though? Are you possibly seeking death? Formally speaking, yes. Frankly speaking, yes. So is it that you choose to give up your life because you realize you cannot escape from me? No, it is of my own will. I wholeheartedly desire to die. I have to commend you for your betrayal. Thank you. I am honored to hear that. Before you kill me, though, I would like to ask you something. What is the reason for all the murderers that you have committed? Very well. I will answer that question of yours just for you. I doubt you will believe everything I say, though. I do not care about the truth. All I care is one thing, and that is simply to hear your personal views. I see. It is all for my daughter's revenge. So it has to do with the DLG law after all. That's right. Under that law, children infected with DSHIS have been forced to be separated from their parents. Filled with loneliness and despair, those parents will await the day of judgment when they will know whether or not their children survive. The chance of survival, however, is less than 30%. Hence, most of those children will only grow black wings on that day and be dumped to the ground. One reason given by the officials for implementing the DLG law is to prevent incidents like the one in Wingtown from happening again. Another reason is that they are currently unable to come up with an effective alternative. Well, I say those are just bullshit excuses from inhumane people. How dare they mercilessly crush the hearts of me, my wife, my son by dumping my daughter to the ground and leaving her all alone there. She was only 5, god damn it. I perfectly understand. It was the work of those sickening eggheads. Their ways of doing things involve putting all human emotions aside. To them, the world is a wheel, while the people are the cogs. They spend most of their time in their offices coming up with theories and bringing them alive with hardly any regard to the outside world. They are neat freaks who demand their offices to be cleaned every morning without a single speck of dust left behind. And all they do is shed blood, sweat, and tears for all the wrong reasons. When I was young, I got the opportunity to tour a research facility of the CMGC. And after returning home from the tour, I became absorbed in my thoughts. The next thing I knew was that I had lit a bonfire in my backyard. It turned out that I successfully invented a new type of lighter, much to the amazement of my servants. And I made a fortune for that. The problem with me has nothing to do with whether or not I am able to find an alternative to the DLG law. Rather, it has to do with my profound and excessive interest in venturing into the deep unknown. What would you have done had that not been the case? I would probably be able to cope up with the burdens of my job. It seems that you are a rather submissive person. I know. At any rate, nothing compares to the heavy burden of black wings that cling to my shoulders like a leech. And here I am, submitting to you because of that. The children who succumb to the Lucifer mutation symptom would probably blame me for being a weakling. Of course they would. I will accept this punishment for my sin. Well, I will not deny that this is a way for me to be freed and to be saved. More importantly, I will truly be grateful if you can take something meaningful away from this. My, such a practicality coming from a man who is about to die. Of all my victims thus far, you are the only one I have misjudged completely. Do you have any last words? Can you tell me her name? I do not know if it's possible, but I would like to meet her in the afterlife and apologize for my actions. I'm afraid that is impossible. You can never find her anywhere, even in the place after death where true love exists. Still, I would like to hold her name in my mind and remember my sin for the last time before I die. Very well, I admire your spirit. My daughter's name is Isia. I see. So Isia is her name. It's time to end this. As a token of my gratitude, I will give you the honor of a quick, painless death. May you rest in peace. Break free from this nightmare and escape to where true love and happiness exist. I am truly glad to have been able to speak with you. Likewise. Even though, who would have thought that you would actually visit that mansion? Let's just say it's all part of fate. Well, it would seem that you were guided to the truth, but not by someone, by an indescribable force of attraction. That force was gathered all the scattered fragments of fate together. And that's why we're all here. Precisely. So you clearly have a motive for masterminding the whole saga up till now. You, as the 6-year commemorator, were the ones pulling the strings behind all the chaos. And that culminated in you stealing Zastia's core and defeating Ende. Yeah, we were responsible for all that. Everything went according to our plan. We were in despair after losing Isia. So we joined the DLG Law Support Group to seek relief. We took part in various meetings and met many fellow members. But it was no use. While I didn't brood over much over my sister's loss due to me still being a kid back then, my dad and mom were in a complete state of profound sorrow. They continuously questioned the meaning of life and the significance of this world. No one's voice could reach them anymore. They were at their limits. We eventually thought about making one of two choices. We would either join the Chaos Salvation Association and give all our hearts to Abram, or we would brace ourselves and jump off Moribund Hope. In either case, it would mean the end. So we were in a dilemma. Then one day, that kid showed up. It was Ende. But why would he come to you? Wasn't he considered an elitist? And didn't he treat people who he believed could not change the fate of Gaia as nothing but trash? To think he would personally approach ordinary people like you. It's true that we were ordinary people to begin with. We had nothing to do with all the fate of Gaia. But we believed that the immense power of Desastia had potential to upset the balance of nature. In other words, if we could obtain the power for ourselves, we could end the life of Gaia. That only seemed feasible on paper, though we didn't think it would work in practice. However, that changed upon our meeting with Ende, who was attracted to us by our negative emotions. Coincidentally, he regarded those emotions as the best he had ever sensed. He said that we were cut out to destroy Gaia, and while we were torn over which the two previous mentioned choices to make, Ende proposed us a third option. Let's end the world together, he said. We were in. That happened 7 years ago. It was also when Joshua and I proposed a disguised suicide at Moribund Hope. Ende said he was ready. He had ready cash before giving us a generous sum of cat money. That money was for us to pay for Morgoth for the process, or for the creation of raw bodies of ourselves. That's new. I didn't think he had money. Never mind, a lot of it. Well, we had no idea why he had all that money, but whatever it is, the money he gave us was way more than what we needed. I had a feeling the money was once stained in blood, though. Once a brat is always a brat. I have to agree. So our plan went underway. In Kane's case, we thought about forcing him to continue life under a new identity, but that would be too much to ask of him, since he was only a child. In addition, it would feel awkward if the whole Kirsch family were to disappear from society. We felt at least one of us should keep the Kirsch family name alive in the honor of Isia. Therefore, if we took the risk of not changing Kane's identity, and Kane remained as Kane Kirsch. Excuse me. As for me and Joshua, we disappeared from society and became Hedi and Curtis, respectively. I worked under George as Hedi, while Joshua worked in Frezite government as Curtis, and Kane joined the OHG in order to keep a close watch on Seraphic Blue. The three of us split from one another with the aim to control the tide of the events in Gaia. We made sure to monitor every trend of all over the world. But the most important reason why we split was so as to not arouse suspicions. In fact, Ende wanted us to act behind the scenes and not join him on the front lines. In other words, he pretty much treated us as hidden gems. So Ende hid our involvement by tricking you into believing he was the sole arch-villain. How surprising to think he would be so afraid of losing you. No, that is not it. His act of hiding our involvement was not part of any strategy. It was done simply for the fun of it. I don't think he told you this before, but he said something about wanting to show his deep affection for you guys through pranks. He also wanted to see how surprised you would be by them. He got just that at Laurentia. Does that ring a bell to you? How fortunate of you to be loved so much. To hell with being loved by a Gaia Cancer. The three of you certainly got us good, though. I admit that I was taken back when I learned Ende had human accomplices. Robin, the CMGC, and even the HG. I must hand it to you for being able to hide your true selves in such conspicuous locations. Why, thank you. I am touched by your words of praise, the almighty white-winged Seraph. Everything went smoothly as time passed, and before long, the armed conflict at Darmstadt occurred. That led to the Lamnin of Gaia, which was one of our motives behind the armed conflict. One of your motives? The War of Liberation was a stepping stone to triggering the Lamnin of Gaia, but there was another significance behind it. The war served as an opportunity for us to avenge Isia. While it might seem that Disasia or Isia was the villain in her war with the humans, in truth she was just a lost and frightened child roaming in an unknown world, and to think she would pitilessly tormented to death by the humans for half a year. That's why we thought the War of Liberation would be a great way to punish the race of humans. And so Ende influenced the greedy George into starting the war, which was a lost war for George. He also helped Morgan, who greatly despised the ground, to claim sovereignty over Frezites. Well, actually, Morgan launched an attack on the ground not because he looked down on it, but simply because of his anger over George. That's how petty he really was. In any case, though, everything turned out well in the end. Our job of initiating the armed conflict was done. Afterwards, the conflict occurred, leading to the deaths of many humans. To think you would cause a massacre of humans without getting your hands dirty. That reminds me. Kane, your behavior during our operation to rescue citizens at Darmstadt was... Hey, Edwin, are we still gonna proceed with the rescue operation given the state here? Why the hell do I have to save humans? Oh, so you actually puke, huh? It looks like you're not all strong-hearted. Shut up, you brat. Stop puking, you damn eyesore. Minerva will only be a pain here in any case. Hey, Kane, one more word from you, and I'll send you flying, got that? Huh. Why the hell are you angry at me? Your sense of justice is stupid and worthless at any rate. Damn. That's why he acted like the way he did. You're another pain in the ass. Scorch for all I care. Burn for all I care. This is for tormenting Isia to death, humans. Come on, I want more deaths. I want more kills. Yes. Be gone. The whole world. The ground and even Frezite. Everything should just perish. It was one of the happiest times of my life. No wonder you were more talkative than usual back then. Who would have thought you would be excited over the sight of flesh and blood? And who would have thought you would treat that disaster as some sort of celebration? Well, celebrations can be interpreted in many ways. So what's there to stop me from calling the destruction part of the ground a celebration? You said the armed conflict was for the sake of avenging Isia, didn't you? Yeah. We basically dealt a massive blow to the humans for what they did to Isia. That's just unreasonable. The humans had to defeat Disasia for their survival. They were only doing what was right. How could you just disregard the fact that Disasia caused mayhem on the ground? Shut up. In the end, that's just the way people live, isn't it? There's no equality in life. People, be them humans or serahumans, may cherish those close to them, but they were sure to regret those unacquainted with them, as nobody's, even trash. Sorry for the jump cut, something just came up. Or more like edit. Whatever. That's a clear example of how people rank others based on... Excuse me. That's a clear example of how people rank others based on how important they are to them. Am I wrong to say that? You are definitely wrong. Not everyone disintegrates others like you think. Ever heard of the planks of Carnadis? For example, Queen Minerva. Supposing you can only save one of two persons on the brink of death. One of them is a stranger, while the other is Hassan. Obviously, you would choose to save Hassan, right? But wouldn't that mean killing the other person? Foxy, let's take your father and your mother as those two persons. Cut that crap. You should know better that the people of chaos like me don't talk about the past, let alone the dead. Next on, let's take the two of the infant angels as those two persons. I would rather give my life to save both of them than to save just one of them. That is, after all, the responsibilities of an adult, isn't it? Doris, let's take Vene and Yancy as those two persons. I would save them and die. Then, if it's your mother and either Vene or Yancy, I would let Mama die. She used to be Mama, but now she is not. Yancy, let's take Munchum and Doris as those two persons. I would die for the both of them. That's certainly what I would be willing to do. Then allow me to ask the almighty Seraph as well. Supposing Lake was in the situation, how would you think he would answer? Well, the old Lake would not hesitate to save Syro and let the other person die. But the Lake I know would certainly give the same answer as Edwin. He would choose to sacrifice his life to save both persons, regardless of who they are. Interesting. Then what about you, Vinny? What would you do? Me? That's obvious. I would no doubt die for others. Or rather, dying for others is my one and only option. After all, I live to save the world. I see. Well, it is clear that your answers are all subject to personal opinion. And it goes to show how people rank others in order of their importance to them. Yeah. So who's to say that we were wrong to take revenge on the humans? In contrast to how humans value their lives more than Isia's life. We value Isia's life more than the lives of humans. To us, those millions of people residing on the ground are no different from cockroaches. So what's wrong with us reducing them to ashes? That's plain absurd. It's just as if you are playing God. No. We're no doubt people like any other. We just do what people would naturally do, as if they were in our shoes. We followed our emotions and handed down punishment for the humans. Anyone would agree based on his or her sense of values in life. That we did was naturally and perfectly reasonable. Should I say the guilty ones are not us? Instead, there are the weak humans who could not even repel Frezite's attack on Darmstadt. Why you? Don't bother, Minerva. It's pointless. I could tell from the look in their eyes that they're completely lost it. They're already shut themselves off from everything around them. And no matter how you try to reason with them, they will only turn a deaf ear to you. I was actually somewhat like these three back when I lost the children in the Hadwick. I was fortunate to be able to recover from that, though. In contrast, that these three seemingly transcend humanity and now pose as gods. No, rather, they may well go to the extent of dethroning God by killing him. But the fact is that they are nothing more than the practitioners and the Disastio family. That in itself doesn't make them gods. Well, I can see why they're so defiant. Is it just me, though, or do these three seem to hold a bias against humanity in general? Although they indirectly killed thousands of humans on the ground, they only killed 10 or so Serahumans and Frezites. And it's strange how they didn't take revenge on Lancerd, the one who killed Isia. That's right. The Frezite government ought to be the source of all the events leading to Isia's death. But why did they only unleash chaos on the ground? And why didn't they target Lancerd? Well, truth to be told, the ones we blame the most are not the humans or even Lancerd himself. In fact, they are only partially to be blamed. Rather, the ones mainly responsible for Isia's death are the Frezite government. After all, they have shown no sympathy for those diagnosed with the DSHIS. And we certainly hate them for enforcing the DLG law. To add on, the real reason why we targeted the humans has more to do with strategy than revenge. Even though we hated the humans as well, including Lancerd. Taking revenge on them is actually secondary to us. And so we initially wanted to take revenge on the whole Frezite government. However, we figured the humans would not stand any chance against the Serahumans in war. In other words, it would be harder to take down the Frezite government than the humans. We would rather not waste our time and effort on that. That's why we revised our plan with regard to taking revenge on the government. As a 6-year commemorator, we would only purge those closely linked to the DLG law. Well, at least we still got our revenge on the government in some way via the armed conflict. I believe the Frezite government suffered quite a lot of casualties themselves. So you got no time to cause chaos in Frezite, or even kill me, huh? What are you busy with then? Is it making preparations for the world's destruction after all? That's right. It's what Indit proposed to us as our third option. We don't plan to abandon the despair in us. We don't plan to discard our lives for nothing either. We plan to destroy the world and bring an end to this commemoration. I see. So that's what the role of the 6-year commemorator is all about. The next shall be the last. The commemoration shall be complete. The meaning of the events of these past 6 years shall be apparent when the time comes. And so, the commemoration is meant to mark the 6 years of Isia's life. You began the commemoration 6 years ago with the murder of a person linked to the DLG law. Afterwards, not only did you continue with your murders, but you also made use of George and Morgan to bring about the War of Liberation. And now, the 6-year commemoration is coming to an end. You plan to stage an undesirable grand finale of destroying the world. Good work figuring that out, as one would expect of the 4th queen of Frezite. But it is too late realizing that now. Everything has already been put into effort, and no one can stop it. We'll achieve our goal by eliminating the whole world's existence. Yes, with Isia now residing in us, anything is possible. Residing in you? Oh, don't tell me Disastia's core is. Yeah, we merged with Disastia's core. And combined with our status as the practitioners, we, as one, will now form the final Gaia Cancer, which we will call Isia. Yo, can I save? This has been a really long-ass conversation. With this, Isia will forever be with us. And together, we shall conclude the commemoration. And by forcing the whole world to be consumed by chaos, along with ourselves, Also, I think I'm going to actually split this into 2 episodes. Because, yeah, fucking an hour half long, dude. That's just madness. Oh, I need a stretch. But then again, I wonder if you can actually pull that off. Just look at Ende. In the end, he was nothing but talk. Oh, he had the potential to do it if he wanted to, you know. What? What indeed? If he was really able to do that, he would be equally able to figure out you would betray him. That's true. In fact, we believe he knew full well about that. But he had the strong belief that he could beat us at our own game. That's why he cheekily merged us with Isia. But he lost in the end. He barked up the wrong tree. Even if he knew about emotions, the fact is that he had no heart. One who does not have the heart can never fully understand human emotions. Consequently, he could not foresee a power in the heart that every person, including us, has. Yes, it was the power of love and faith. That is something Ende could not grasp at all. He sure made a complete ass of himself with the way he panicked upon his defeat. It came as a huge shock, and like a bolt from the blue. That feeling was probably similar to how the humans felt when the celestial border disappeared, with an unknown and unexpected phenomenon presented before him. He became all shook up in an instant. I've never seen anyone as foolish as him, really. In the end, everything about him was but a farce. He had no dignity whatsoever as a practitioner. He was just a stupid and timid kid who would throw tantrums whenever something went wrong. And he didn't even mind behaving that way in front of all of you. And so Ende was betrayed and utterly defeated by us. He was then demoted to nothing more than a Gaia Cancer, and we became the new practitioners. Now, allow me to share with all of you something interesting. It has something to do with just how powerful we currently are. We are currently. The Gaia Cancers are a type of existence that abides by the laws of conservation of energy in nature. Their strengths are not dependent on their individual energies, but rather their collective energy. Supposing E is their total energy, and E_1, E_2, and E_3, where N is the original number of Gaia Cancers, are their individual energies. Then, by the law of conservation of energy, the sum of all their individual energies up to the En is equal to E. And by that same law, E remains constant. In other words, the lesser Gaia Cancers there are, the greater amount of energy each Gaia Cancer possesses. So by defeating the Gaia Cancers one after another, we are only making the survival of Gaia Cancers stronger. That is correct. So, in a way, we made use of you. We waited until almost all the Gaia Cancers were taken down before becoming the new practitioners. This was so that we, as Gaia Cancers, would have the most amount of energy compared to the rest. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Then that means the 3 of you, as the final Gaia Cancers, now possesses the total energy E. Yes. Well, actually, that is not all the energy we have. Our energy is not equal to the value E. It is equal to the value much higher than that. There is, in fact, an irregular element of fate in the form of a lethal and destructive being known as the greater disaster that caused it. That being is Disastia. Disastia was a unique cancer devil, containing 2 Gaia Cancers named Emeralda and Justine. One could even call Disastia a mutation of Gaia Cancers. These uniquenesses gave Disastia tremendous power that was strong enough to cause massive destruction to the ground. Disastia did not eat into the planet like Gaia Cancers normally would do, but destroyed much of the ground with sheer physical force. That is something no ordinary Gaia Cancer could do. Do you know what this means, then? Yes. It means that in Esmeralda and Justine, which formed Gaia's core, was exceptionally stronger than any other Gaia Cancer. As said before, the amount of energy that a Gaia Cancer has does not increase on its own, but depends on the number of Gaia Cancers still alive. Esmeralda and Justine, however, were the only exceptions. Perhaps it has something to do with the ability of Isia's body and Lucifer's form to grow, and because of that, the energy within Disasia was amplified to a whole new level. Isia was eventually killed 10 years ago. However, the Disasia's core, or rather the inner and true self of Disasia, was not dead. It merely slipped into a long, deep slumber while possessing a dreadful pulse of destruction and remained that way until recently. Now, it has been awakened. Isia is right here with us. And we now possess her pulse of destruction right in our hearts. We're no longer worthy of being called the practitioners. We have no intention of destroying the world the slow way like any other Gaia Cancer. We are Disasia. We plan to crush the world. Disasia. This is beyond belief. Kane, ever since I first saw you, that day, I sensed an unstable future up ahead. But I didn't expect you guys would plan as far as to take the life of Gaia. Why? Why is it that because of your sorrow caused by the loss of Isia, to think you would actually wish to destroy everything? Is your sorrow so deep as to warrant such a desire? Nah. Huh. We're already done with avenging Isia. Already done? With avenging? So you're saying the reason behind your goal is to destroy the world is something else? And that has absolutely nothing to do with your revenge or your sorrow. Yeah, nothing at all. That's plain ridiculous. Just what are you guys thinking? You're not telling us it has to do with your weariness with life now, are you? You must be joking. I would appreciate if you do not lump me in with the fools from the DLG Lost support group and the Chaos Salvation Association. Then what is the reason? It's love. Love? Yes. The fall of this world shall be our love and gift to the children. You're not making sense at all. What does that have anything to do with destroying the world? Oh, you'll know soon enough. In fact, Vinny, that is something you should be able to understand. No, rather, it might well be that you already know more than half of that. Are you perhaps feeling annoyed? Oh, dude. I really need to say a point. I'm so tired now for reading. Of course I'm annoyed. I am Seraphic Blue, an important being that exists to protect the world. I am not the same as any of you. I see. It looks like you are not willing to accept the forbidden fruit. But that does not mean we will give up. Yeah. It would be good if there's someone in place of you who could accept the forbidden fruit. Well, maybe your evil sibling will want it. Ern? She's still alive, isn't she? Yeah. She is the paradox of destiny. She is the voodoo goddess. Well, she is still in the midst of her rest. But I suppose there is no better time than now to call her out. Yeah, this is just the right time for our special guest to take stage. Hear me, the antithesis of Seraphic Blue. Hear me, an invited irony of faith. What? Are you really calling her out? Don't worry. We put a lot of thought into this or something like that. I didn't catch it because all it's like, I've just teleported your comrades to a place where they cannot see or come to us. That way, you can rest assured that your privacy is protected. That is not the issue. Stop it this instant. No, don't say that. She seems eager to see you. Stop it! Yeah, stop it with the auto text, first of all. We wish for make thy fucking please awake from thy slumber and accept the power. May thou, the deaf seraph, roam freely the profound depths. Refuse Seraphic Blue. My, you seem to be looking at me like I'm trash or something. Well, you're in fact trash. Well, I admit that's what I was originally. But don't you think it's a bit irresponsible of you to treat me with disrespect? Try saying that to Sigberg. He's already dead, though. I know. I killed him after all. What? Ofa was actually about to let Sigberg die in an explosion, but hesitated at the last minute. In the end, she even cast a barrier on him. And so, what I did was destroy that barrier before leaving the scene. Interesting. Would you have preferred to kill him yourself? What are you saying? Don't you know that the fact that you're guilty of killing him pretty much means I'm guilty as well? Oh, so I take it that I'm not the one who actually killed him. We both played a part in killing him. Say what you will. That aside, why are you still alive? The waves brought about by Venus' return to my spirit ought to have eradicated you. Well, yes, that should have been the case. But then why? The situation back then turned out to be different, though. And it was all thanks to Ende's interference. Ende's interference? Don't tell me. The summon of Wilhelmine was actually... You and the rest presumed that was another one of Ende's practical jokes. You believed it was a sinful prank by him to disrupt your emotional reunion with Ofa. And above all, you thought Ende summoned Wilhelmine just because he felt like it. In truth, though, that summon was a disguise. You let your emotions take control of you, so much so that you didn't realize Ende's true intention. I had become a living being, only to be imprisoned by Ofa within herself. She did that to deny me freedom in this world. And so, given that state I was in, I would be sure to cease to exist during Ofa's fusion with you. I would have drowned and perished in the primordial waves brought about by that fusion. But Ende and those three people prevented that from happening. Basically, after you and the rest defeated Wilhelmine, a crack was momentarily formed in Ofa. As a result, I managed to squeeze through the crack and barely avoid getting eradicated. And just like that, I was free from her and into this world. That was the day when I got to see you in this world, even though you didn't get to see me. I was actually wanting to say hi to you back then, but unfortunately, after getting out of imprisonment, I was considerably drained of energy. And even though I have been resting since then until now, I have yet to recover to full strength. Then get lost at once and stay in your coffin for good. You really hate me, don't you? Well, no matter. I'll go back to rest right after I'm done with one thing. What thing? I'll be performing a grand task. It's something that would be too much to handle for these three people. And so I'm here to help them as a token of appreciation for freeing me. I'm going to break the heavens apart. Let us now usher in the final event of commemoration. Our grand true love for children shall now be spread to the heavens, and together with Isia, we shall clear the way for that. Behold the wrecked heavens above you. and grieve over the significance of all that lies in slumber there. Alright. We are definitely nearing the end of this game now. True masterminds. The heavens have been broken apart. As I thought, this task has left me all worn out. I'm going back to rest now. What do you think? It's a spectacular view, isn't it? That is, without a doubt, the place where the world's end will spark from. And it's a place we called Icius Heavens. That place is the prodrome of Gaia's demise. It is the visible, corroded form of the soul's home. And the creation of Icius Heaven was made possible all thanks to the Lamnin of Gaia, who shall held there and crush the whole world with our own hands. So that's our final dungeon, huh? Aren't you going to stop us? You're wasting your time talking here. I bet you want me to head to Icius Heavens in order to stop you, don't you? How blunt. Didn't you seem more hesitant just a while ago? You speak as if you know me. Well, I would advise you not to make a smart aleck. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and get going. Don't worry. I'll be there later without fail. You can rest assured, I won't leave you for waiting for nothing. Well, alright. I guess it might be more interesting this way. Then we'll make our way to Icius Heaven, as you wish. So the final stage for the battle for the fate of Gaia has been set, hasn't it? I wonder if you would have the will to fight us, though. Don't be ridiculous. I am Seraphic Blue, and nothing else matters to me other than to defeat all of you and save the world. You are putting on a rather brave face. Now that urn has been set free, shouldn't you be more honest with yourself? Why do you have to be so confirmed to your mission? Well, we'll be waiting then. The almighty Seraph of the world's salvation. Oh, dude, that was a long discussion. I know what you're trying to get at, but I don't need you to remind me on that. Morgan, George, and Inde, the one who controlled them. Come to think of it, we have certainly fought a long battle up to this point. However, it would turn out that those three were all mere pawns of the Tersch family, and the whole situation of this world has all along been manipulated by that family. They became the menacing destroyer that is the Zastia. And that, combined with their status as the practitioners, made them the formidable final Gaia cancers, which they all call Icea. In addition, they were responsible for bringing about Icius Heavens, the prodrome of Gaia's demise, made possible by the Lamnin of Gaia. Icius Heavens are also the corroded form of the soul's home that look to be a gigantic black hole in the wrecked skies. The Kirsch family choose to destroy Gaia and end the world in the place closest to Gaia's extremist. They have a clear purpose in mind, unlike the Gaia cancers, which instinctively consume Gaia at random. And they have strong intent to end everything and destroy this world in a necessary manner. In that case, I have to stop them at the final stage of this battle. That is, at last, within sight. Lake, Edwin, Syra, and Vene, Benedicta, and Catherine, as well as Donald and the rest at the OHG headquarters. Hopes may come and go, but the fact is, the numerous hopes of the people for the future all rest on my two shoulders and on my two wings. I will not allow myself to give up on those hopes, and I will fight to the end and fulfill them. Yes, that is the only way forward for me, wherever it be those who stand in my way, conviction in anything apart from victory at the furthest end of my destiny. None of those matter. Let us head to the heavens. Or let's prepare to the, oh my god. And let us end this once and for all. Misreading, dude. Yes, everything will come to a close. Across the distant heavens. Alright. Do we get a save? Yep. I'll see you guys in the next episode then. Later.